Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
And what's it gonna do?
It doesn't matter how you're doing. Woo! Wheeling dealing, limousine right, jet flying.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Would you please shut the hell up?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the human rubble.
What up, what up? Welcome to episode 42 of Keep the Kayfabe. I'm Mike, sitting here with my boys, ready to talk some wrestling. We celebrated Memorial Weekend this past week, and the barbecues weren't the only thing smoking. AEW had a smoking hot pay-per-view show this past Sunday. We are going to follow up on the card, break down each match, go over the results, and see who was correct as far as the predictions went from last week. And we will crown a new champion on Keep the Kayfabe, or as I would like to call, King Bookah. But before we get to all that, let's introduce the boys real quick. Over in Glendale, somebody who keeps it regal, Steve Grobschmidt. How are you, Grabby?
What a rush.
Shout out to Hawk, one of the best. Honestly, Hawk actually crossed my mind this last watching Double or Nothing, and I'll tell you which match I wish Hawk would go up against one of the wrestlers in AEW right now. So we'll get to that a little later. All right, let's cruise down to Bayview real quick. Talk to someone who's freshly squeezed, Matt Michelson. How are you, Matt?
Oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh, way, oh,
Oh, yes.
Get your hands going.
Dude, Jungle Boy. I love that song, Tarzan Boy. I forget who it's by, actually. But,
Baltimore.
I mean, Tony Khan getting these pop songs is probably the most brilliant thing, too, because everybody loves a good sing-along. I mean, they're doing it now with Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends with the Pixies song, Where's My Mind? I mean, it gets me kind of hyped. If I was a wrestler, I'd want to come out to Mr. Brightside, that Killer song that's so hot right now.
Yes.
That would get the people going.
I'd want to come out to Sandman song. Enter the Sandman. It's a shit.
Oh, that would be dope.
One of the best citruses in wrestling, in my opinion.
Yep. Bring it on. Yep. All right. Let's stay in Bayview real quick. And speaking of hyped, oh my God, it's Charlie Michael.
It's time. It's Vader time.
Oh, yeah.
We had Vader on the call with us there for a second.
From beyond.
It was just perfect intro. Just like it.
Yeah.
Charlie's actually, you're wearing the mask too right now. I
totally.
can't believe you got one of Vader's masks.
It's
Oh my
signed.
God. I wish we had video, kind of like the promo of the week. The stuff that people could really see, see our reactions to it.
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
we got a whole show to get to. Don't get me excited about the promo of the week.
Yes.
I'll get distracted.
Yep.
Yeah, we do have to get to a lot this week. It was AEW's great pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, that took place this past Sunday. It took place in Jacksonville at Daly's Place, and it might have been called fuck me. All right.
It might as well been called.
Keep it in there. I like it.
It might as well been called. It might
Do it
as
again.
well been called Happy Place, because it was jam-packed with happy fans back in the building, ready to watch some incredible wrestling. This was one of the most fun pay-per-views I've seen in a while. And if you didn't catch last week, the boys and I broke down each match, given our picks, and what we're going to do is we're going to reveal them tonight, the winner, and see who is King Bookah. So let's get to the card. It started off probably with one of the best matches of the night. They couldn't have picked a better match to start it off. It was between Brian Cage and Hangman Page. All of us picked Brian Cage except for Charlie. He picked Adam Page to win this, and he was
easy.
correct. So, yeah, Charlie came out with a great head start on one of us right away. What'd you think of that match, Charlie? What do you got to say about it?
It was a good match. I mean, I don't know if it was, like you said, match of the night. It was a good opener. They had a good point. I listened to Busted Open today. it probably would have been better, a bigger pop in the beginning if they had had Page come out first instead of Cage. The music would, and the crowd would have popped hotter. But he still got to get pop. But it's like one of those little booking things they could have improved on. But it was good. I liked how they ended it. With those guys coming in the ring and fucking messing it up for him. So hopefully Cage can split off and become a face, and then probably do the job for Kenny or somebody, or he could go against Miro. So
that'd be
it's
amazing.
A lot of good options. They need some good faces to face those guys. So I think it's a good split to get them out of there now and get them going.
Yeah, Cage. I liked him coming out first. He kind of looked like he stepped off the set of Spartacus. This half Terminator, half Gladiator outfit, which I really liked. He looked jacked as fuck.
Yep.
And when that music hit for Adam Page and everybody held up the guns, I was like, yes, wrestling is back and alive and well. What'd you think of this one, Matt?
Yeah. I agree with Charlie. I don't know that if I'd call it the match of the night by any means, but as far as a way to kick off a pay-per-view, especially the first pay-per-view back with fans in a long time, this was awesome. It was a really nice day here on Monday in Milwaukee. And I didn't watch the pay-per-view the night of. I ended up watching it later on. But like I said, it was a nice day. So I ended up sitting outside, just kind of chilling, catching some sun, and pulled it up on my phone. Becky and I are sitting there, and I've got my headphones in, just kind of watching, the opening match. And no joke, I started to tear up just watching the beginning of this first match because I forgot how awesome pay-per-views are, especially any wrestling.
Yeah.
When you have a crowd. It's such a night and day difference. And I knew it when the pandemic first started and we saw WWE do shows in the Performance Center with nobody in attendance. I remember realizing how weird it was. And over time, you just kind of get used to it. But now that we're seeing shows with fans back, I can't even imagine. I can't remember what it was like before. It felt like watching wrestling for the first time again. It was amazing. So that was really cool. As far as the match itself goes, I actually thought it started out kind of slow, but just like a lot of Adam Page's matches, it built on itself really well. You get to the spot where he does that moonsault off the top rope to the outside. Whole crowd pops. I start coming up off my seat to watching it. I was into it. This was the perfect match to open the show. Loved it.
Yep.
I think that's why I maybe got a little over exaggerated. I got caught up with the fan feeling saying it was the match of the night. You mentioned that moonsault. It was perfect. I thought Brian Cage propped up Adam Page perfectly. And he wrestled a great match. But Steve, what's your take on this one?
Oh, there's not much I can top what you guys said. I think, the moment, whatever it lacked in terms of quote unquote star rating, I think made up for, to your point, Mike, that just this being your a first full crowd match back, and the crowd was so into it.
Yeah,
it was just it got me super excited. And I think, both guys are uber dependable. I liked what they're doing completely with Cage. It's been this slow build on him kind of having discontent with Taz's team, and I think we're probably going to see that blow up pretty soon now, because he was pushing him when he left and all that, and it's I don't know, it was such a fun moment. And now Adam Page is kind of back on the hot track to whatever they're going to do with him next. Maybe they're building him to Kenny Omega. I don't know. I mean, that could be the guy who dethrones him, but you checked all the boxes for what you want for a good opening match. I also find it interesting that they're not really, they're acknowledging that Ricky Starks is injured, but they keep putting him out there. And it's I remember he was getting into it, and I said, I think my wife was in the room, and I'm like, he's not going to touch him. He's got a bad neck. And then he was pointing at his neck. But it's cool that they're using the guy, even though he can't wrestle, because as opposed to him just disappearing for months,
Yeah. We mentioned it on we mentioned it on past shows about Ricky Starks. Even when he isn't speaking, he has great facial expression, great presence. He's still valuable even without him being in action. Great takes, boys. I'm totally on board with you there. I love this match. And even Taz on the mic joining JR, Shivani, and Excalibur. I mean, he was emotional. I love it when Taz gets fired up. You know, he swears so good.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I
son of
think,
a bitch.
yeah,
Like,
when he exclaimed whatever he did, damn it, or son of a bitch, I forget
Damn
what he
it!
said. When the match
it, Brian!
ended, I was just popping. Like, he gets so into it. It's just infectious. He's a outstanding commentator.
Totally. And one other thing, I know we talked about this a little bit last week when we were doing our prediction show, and I had made the comment that Adam Page and Christian Cage, not Christian Cage. Which Cage is this? Brian Cage.
There's too many, yeah.
I know.
It's so hard right now. Sorry.
It is. They had recently gone head to head on Dynamite, and that's sort of what sparked this match. And I think I made the comment last week that it was kind of strange to me that they were booking it this way, because this feels very WWE, where they would do a 50-50 booking format. But I think the way the match ended with the other members of Team Taz coming into the ring and having a little bit of additional dissension in that group really helped build on the storyline of that faction maybe dissolving, or at the very least, Brian Cage breaking
Cage is
off.
getting out of it. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, despite the 50-50 booking, I think they used it well, and it's doing nothing but adding into the storyline. So hats off to AEW for that.
Good for
I
me.
wonder if
and
he'll
for,
keep
and
the
for me
FT
knowing.
Yes, very good, Charlie.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Charlie. Yes. And for Charlie for calling it.
Yeah. Even though I missed a couple on the show, but
And who knows?
Let's carry on.
Who's gonna keep that FTW belt too? It's so important. It's so sought after. But yeah, we don't have to get into any more of that. Let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next match. The Young Bucks versus Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. All of us, except for Steve, picked the Young Bucks to retain the titles. Steve, I mean, hey, it wasn't a bad pick.
First time watching wrestling, huh, Steve?
Hey, Jon Moxley is hot. And actually, Eddie Kingston wrestled a very good match. Way better than I thought he would. Jon Moxley is a nutbag. And you know what? If entertainment counted for a win in the W column, Steve would have gotten this W. I thought the team of Eddie Kingston and Moxley did awesome. The Bucks were victorious, retained their titles. Did Brian Gage come out to this? Do I remember correctly? Who came out?
No, it was other half of
right?
was the other half of
Kazarian.
Kazarian, Frankie. Yeah, I was trying to think of a tag team name.
Kazarian, yeah, because
really?
he's got, yeah, I like what they're doing with him. He's pissed that his team got broken up.
Yeah, so it'll be cool to see where he goes.
I was watching this on my phone driving home from Pittsburgh. So I had the sound off while my wife was driving. So I snuck in some wrestling while I wasn't driving 10 hours home on Memorial Day weekend from the East Coast. So yeah, I was curious who that was. But yeah, this was a pretty good match. Any of you guys have anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was the hottest match of the show, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like the entrance for Moxley
was great.
God, that was so good. And
that was great.
I love how Moxley's coming out now to Wild Thing instead of his usual music. Like you hear the music come on, you're thinking, oh, okay, they're doing this again. And then you see those two guys behind the curtain. And the moment they bust through the curtain and the music hits, the crowd pops all at the same time.
Yeah.
I was immediately like, oh yeah, let's go. This is.
And then Moxley was just fired up once that happened, dude. He was out of his mind.
And then they come in, of course, through the crowd, because that's what Moxley always does.
Yeah.
He's just getting everybody fired up. I mean, they were in the ring and the crowd was so hot, and then the Young Bucks come out and they just get quiet.
Dude, I thought that was great that they jumped them too. I thought that was great. They're doing their pose and they just jump them like right away. I thought that was hilarious, dude.
Oh yeah,
they are the biggest heels in all wrestling.
They're doing
and I
great.
think, honestly,
I love them, and they're doing great work. Dude.
Honestly, jokes aside, I think I should have known better than to pick them to lose. But I think they get me so much that like that I hate them so much in story that it just was like wishful thinking that they were going to lose, because they're such good heels that it just they get me, and I usually like the heels.
I mean, I figure they're going to hold that thing for at least a year, probably.
I don't know who they're going to be. I don't know who they don't.
Yeah, exactly. It might, from what I heard, what I see, I bet Moxley might take a break now with this kid coming. You know, he took the 4 BTE triggers or whatever. So maybe he'll be written off for a while, and him and Kingston come back at some point because they're definitely they're definitely tag champs. You know, quality
material.
Yeah, exactly. Kingston was over, huge. I love how Moxley did an ode to the Sandman with slamming the beer and bashing the can on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude.
Awesome. Yeah. Felt the same way. Felt the intensity. Lots of good false finishes. Very physical. Like I said earlier, Eddie, I thought went above and beyond what he usually does.
Yeah.
So this was a great match to keep the momentum going with the fans.
I like Nick Jackson's beard and hair dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like some sun in his hair now.
Yeah, he dyed it. I think he's doing it as a a heel kind of move sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
That's like too. I don't know if you guys watch much of the Road to Double or Nothing. Like when they were doing, dude, it's worth the watching of just their promos. And he's got that nose ring in. Nick is, and he's like, yeah, they're talking about us. We haven't changed much. And then, Matt goes, well, we did kind of change. You get a nose ring now. Yeah, but besides that, we haven't changed much. It's just fucking great heel, cocky comedy, dude. It's hilarious, dude. It's just good shit.
They sound a lot like the Rockers from like the late 80s, early 90s. I vibe a lot now from the Young Bucks. I mean, I feel like they've always kind of ripped off Shawn Michaels to some extent, but now more than ever.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Steve, the other thing you mentioned is you're starting to fall into that area where you detest the Young Bucks, but you can't tell if it's a work or for real, why you hate them. I think part of it is you got Don Callis out there,
he's so good.
He's out there, spitting game and just making you pissed off. I can relate.
Yeah, as we've all said, yourself included, Matt, Don Callis is the greatest manager of all time.
I did not say that, and I do not concur with that assessment.
And Charlie's favorite tag team is MSK.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, if there's some truth.
They're lucky that they're not. They're lucky that the Bucks are lucky that they're not over at AEW. They shower them out, dude.
Oh man, MSK is 10 times the tag team, bro.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's keep it moving to the Casino Battle Royale. I was kicking myself because I wanted to pick Jungle Boy to be the champion, but you guys sold me on Christian. We all picked Christian to be the champion of the Casino Battle Royale, but they gave it to Jack Perry, young Jungle Boy, who's kind of bulking up,
which is awesome.
He's looking great. I mean, he's kind of always been hanging around, like in the big matches, coming up big. I mean, we saw it last pay-per-view and the other Battle Royal that he was in. I think he was like the last 3 or 4 people in the ring. And I was like, he's got an outside chance, but you guys really sold me on Christian. It made sense. Yeah, Christian was second to last, wasn't he?
Yeah, so, it was just those two. Yeah. I'm glad they did because I'm glad they booked it, not us, because the crowd would have fucking just went nuts if Jungle Boy wasn't one. And I'm so glad they know what they're doing, because that might have been a little bit of a letdown. Christian would have got booed. It might have changed the whole tone of the show, but I'm so glad they put him over, even though he's going to lose, but so glad they had him win the Battle Royale, because in a couple years, he will be in the title picture, I suspect.
Oh, yeah. He's so good already.
Yep.
I totally agree. I was really sold on the fact that Christian would have won this because, I mean, he's definitely in the later years of his career. So I think he's at a point where if he's going to have a title match with Kenny Omega, now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love that that's the idea I have in my head. Everything, all the undertones of this match kind of reinforce that, like, oh yeah, it's going to be Christian.
Yeah.
Down to the final 3. And it was really cool to me that they had that face off between Christian and Matt Hardy.
Yeah. Exactly. They were talking about doing the ladder and their ladder match shit. And, you know,
and I think probably my favorite, this match actually turned out to be really good and really enjoyable, especially in the end.
For Matt, well, yeah.
We got to mention the Joker, Leo Rush.
Oh, yeah.
Out Dude,
That was a good, nice surprise.
so he was amazing in NXT, but that guy's on a whole nother level when the leash is off and he can
Oh,
do whatever
yeah.
he wants. I mean, he was doing his
Yeah.
whole sequence of moves. I've never seen anything like that. It was
Dude.
incredible.
If you want to see some shit, watch his Ring of Honor stuff. That's where I first saw him.
Mhm.
He's insane, dude. He's
Nice.
so fucking quick, dude. And he can
Yeah.
he's only thing he's just short, but he's perfect for AEW. But when I heard, I don't know if he signed it, if it was just a one-off kind of deal.
I don't know.
I heard he wasn't signed, but who knows?
Yeah, I heard it was a one-off deal as well. I would love to see him do more matches. The one that I just thought of when you mentioned his speed, Charlie, is Leo Rush versus Darby Allin.
Oh my god!
Dude.
Oh my god! What a match!
Yeah.
That would be match of the year right there. Good call, man.
Yeah.
I was actually
Damn.
going to say that too. Like, imagine Darby Allin versus Leo Rush in a parkour backlot brawl. Like, it'd be like parkour challenge.
No, keep it in the ring, dude. I want to see him do their keep it in the ring. I want to see him do all their shit in a ring just quick as shit, dude. Keep it in the ring, dude.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
So here. How about this fatal 4-way? Those two, Will Ospreay and Ricochet.
Oh my God.
I'd
What
quit
a
watching
match.
wrling after that. I'd be like,
And-
it'll never top this.
It would blow my mind, dude. I would never.
I would-
be able to
yeah,
cover it.
I would stay hard.
I'd have my Triple H.
I mean,
Forget
you'd
about the
think you would
first
took
game.
mushrooms or something
Oh
watching
my-
that match.
yeah,
They'd be bouncing around.
My head would never be right again, dude. I had a buddy who
One other
zonked
thing
out
I
for some shrooms, and his
one
head's
other thing I
never
do
right.
quickly
Sorry.
want to interject about the Casino Battle Royale. So yeah, Jungle Boy won. What really caught me by surprise is, I mean, I think we all knew that Jungle Boy was over to some degree,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's been a while
Not
since there's
over.
been fans.
Live crowd,
And
yeah.
he is over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way over. It gets me hyped for the live shows that we're gonna be seeing soon. So
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah.
yep.
And honestly, I've always wanted to see Jungle Boy like come in on like Tarzan, swing into the ring, because I really hate his entrance with Jurassic Express when he's on what's his name, Luchasaurus's shoulders, who is like an
hate
afterthought
that?
now.
Mhm.
No, well, how long are you gonna do it? It doesn't age well, for sure. I mean, the older
Yeah.
those guys get, the harder it gets. And
He's not gonna be doing all that swinging, dude. Owen Hart. They ain't gonna be doing all that swinging, dude.
Hey, we saw
Oh,
we saw what's his name, Jericho, do it in the Stadium Stampede
Yeah,
match.
a
I think he's
one
swinging.
time thing, but you're talking like
They're
swinging
just
in.
testing it out. They're testing it out.
Yeah,
Imagine if it was
no.
every time.
No,
Big pops.
Yeah. No, dude. They're not gonna do that, dude. They'll do it like one-off special occasions. They'll do it like he's gonna win a title match or something like that, but they're not gonna be doing that every week, dude, because ask Kobe about flying and fucking
Yes, who?
Kobe. Yeah, about helicopters. Yeah, they're safe. They never go down.
Okay.
Shit happens. You keep
Let's not
doing it
dwell on
over.
it.
You keep doing it over. He did it a lot. Then that's off topic, but you keep writing those fucking things over and over. Something's gonna go wrong.
Luckily, Sting survived that in his career because he did that every week for a long
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah. His nuts were probably in his throat, and I'm not talking about when it was the slow jerk upwards when he got to the ground.
time.
All right. Speaking of nuts and throat, that's probably
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
guys were thinking
What a
when
segue.
you saw the Memorial Day tribute of the troops
Damn.
right before the Cody
should've
Agogo
known.
match.
I should
You
have
guys were probably like, what's his name in Christmas Story, Ralphie? You were probably like, oh fuck,
Yep.
why did I
Yeah.
pick Anthony Agogo? Your boy Mike was right. I mean, I
Yep.
said Cody was going to come out looking like Apollo Creed in Rocky
he did.
4. And yes, he did. He made Apollo Creed look like a nihilist with the gear that Cody had on. That thing should be in a patriotic museum. That was some of the most beautiful gear I've ever seen in my entire life.
Now, in fairness,
And,
Apollo Creed died in that movie.
Yep.
Good note.
Hey, and he was going up against a boxer, though. That's what I'm saying.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
The thing
Oh,
I
your
didn't-
pick-
the thing, yeah. The thing
your
I didn't
picks died.
realize. Yeah, the thing I didn't realize when I made that pick was that I didn't think about it. I didn't really know that I didn't know Ogogo only had like 3 matches. That was his 3rd match.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's gonna be hard to put him over. And I should have known that Cody was gonna put himself over, but he should have still put the guy over.
Exactly.
But
I still don't. Yeah,
yeah, he should have
didn't
still
like
put the
ending.
guy over. Yeah, but I should have thought about that. It's like he can, and Ogogo can take the L and come back and get it back from him at some point. But I didn't realize that he'd only had like 2 other matches besides that.
Well, what
I thought he was
convinced-
working on Dark or something.
what had me half convinced as the match went on is was like, wait, isn't his wife's gonna have a baby soon? Maybe he's
Yeah,
gonna take
exactly.
some time off.
Yeah,
And I thought, what better way? He just goes out in an injury.
writes himself off. Yeah,
But no, that didn't happen either.
he's got to be Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as you can probably hear, folks, the boys all picked Anthony Ogogo. Only me, Mike Bate, picked Cody to win this match because he just changed his nickname to the American Dream on Memorial Day. Plus, like I said, he has an American Nightmare tattoo on his neck. And like Steve alluded to with another upcoming match, Sting and Darby Allin, they didn't get Sting to take, losses. Cody Rhodes did not start AEW to take losses in big matches. And I'm not even sure if Anthony Ogogo is British because his teeth are way too good. Guy looks great.
does look good.
It was a pretty good match. I think it was pretty short. They got all their shit in. I mean, obviously Cody made him look really good. I mean, I do like that body punch. That's his finisher. I think it's good. It can come out of nowhere, and that's what they say always makes a great finisher if you can execute it anytime and it's easy to sell. I enjoyed this match. It did the job.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think,
agree.
Matt?
Yeah, I agree. It was a good match. I honestly couldn't tell you any particular spots from it, so I don't think as a whole, like there was no real crescendo to it. Now, to be fair, kind of like you guys said, this is Anthony Ogogo's 3rd match, so you can only expect so much, especially coming from a boxing background. But man, his speed and athleticism, you could totally tell he's going to be somebody in this match, and that he already is somebody based on all the accolades they gave him when they introduced him. Mike, yeah, you were spot on. The American flag, the American dream, the American nightmare, Memorial Day weekend. Foolish of us to think that maybe Anthony Ogogo could have won this match. So, yeah,
It's
it
foolish.
would've meant to.
It's foolish for us to think that Cody would put somebody over, some new guys over.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
so foolish for us. I saw a good meme. And it was when Jericho was doing the list in WWE. He had a big list of paper, like going all the way to the ground, and like scrolls, and it said the list of new people that Cody has buried. And it's so true.
Yeah, for sure. But it's his company. He can do what he wants.
I guess so.
Not really. It's Tony Khan's company. But
Thanks for burying me there, Charlie. Moving on.
like they said, I forget. Did JR say something about that on the pay-per-view when Excalibur corrected him on something? Thanks for
calling me out on the air.
On my TV,
Yeah.
And
you could pick up a little edge in that, like he was serious.
Yeah. Well, since you guys brought this up, that is one thing I do want to mention, just as a whole with this pay-per-view. JR felt really off to me, and they kept tripping over each other a lot.
Yeah,
really.
I agree.
I'm glad you brought it up as well, because I think JR has done and seen it all for so long. He gets into his podcast, like what we're doing, commenting on the matches. You see him more just kind of like, wow, this is just so fun. And the match made sense. It did the job. Like, like they need to get a guy, like it would have been such a better show if they got someone in there like Mauro Ranallo to just keep it in the moment. Excalibur always keeps him in the moment.
Oh, Excalibur's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He was on fire today.
Shivani and JR, they kind of drift into reminiscent memory lane shit. Like, oh, this takes me back to when wrestling was wrestling and great,
Yeah, I think JR could fade off into the background, get somebody new, fresh, that the kids like.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I understand keeping them around, but
right.
time is he was good for the first year. Time's passed him by, so it's time to move
Yeah,
on.
and I think
In my opinion,
sometimes I tried to describe this many episodes ago, but it's the yeah, and what Mike said about him, like the same persona that's in his podcast, where sometimes he just gets like he just kind of acts a little too cool for school, and he'll
yeah,
he'll make like
does it all.
flippant
Yep.
comment, like it's supposed to be like he will make some witty comment that winds up in a small way taking away from what's happening in the ring, and yeah, and he also flubbed up, like he got names mixed up more than and I don't usually. It's fashionable to bash him, but it was enough to be distracting at times to me that he had like more miscues than normal.
Yeah.
It's still
Sorry,
an awesome
Matt, you
show.
brought up the topic and we just kind of ran with the ball. Did you have more to say about that?
No, not really. I mean, that was just something I noticed throughout the show. I agree with you guys. Anytime I hear the name Mauro Ranallo, I think, man, yes, please. And I know Mauro Ranallo is kind of 50-50 amongst the internet fans, but man, that guy can commentate and he just brings the energy. Him and Excalibur together. Like, I honestly wouldn't be able to stay seated for the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if Mauro didn't have the leash that he had in NXT and just given the chance just to do one pay-per-view or even one match, just to see it, I think he would nail it and he would get the job. But time will tell if we get some new blood in there. And I'm kind of wanting JR to just kind of, still be involved, still do his podcast, still because he is knowledgeable. He's one of the all-time greats, but just not in the current state of affairs. And if you want to get new viewers, I think you got to get somebody new in there that they can make their own memories about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So moving on, we had the TNT Championship, Miro going up against Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts. We all picked Miro to win this match, and Miro did win this match by submission. And this was the match that I was saying, Steve, when you brought up Hawk, I was like, man, these two guys are physical, because I just remember that Dark Side of the Ring about everybody saying how the Legion of Doom would just beat the hell out of it, their opponents. They would know that they were in a fight and they just, would get killed. And that's what these two guys were doing. They were just hammering each other. So
Absolutely.
physical, as expected. My favorite part of the match is when Jake the Snake brought out a sack of snakes and Miro
that was awesome.
Stole
Whipped it. The crowd
launched it.
It was awesome.
And then I did.
Okay,
awesome, we just talked some shit about JR, but he was like, "That's just sick."
Yeah, he actually got into that one. Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, it was just so old school, like hilarious.
That was awesome, dude.
But it's funny. I'm not saying this to be critical, but I also thought it was kind of hilarious. Like I was watching, and later on in the match, they had a camera angle, and the bag was still there, and it's like he just whipped the snake, and nobody gives a shit about the snake.
Yeah. I don't know what they had in there. Obviously, it probably wasn't snakes because no animals were harmed in an AEW production.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I noticed that too, Steve. It was still in the entry.
Still there the whole time.
Yeah. When JR, kind of like you said, Mike, just his reaction seemed so genuine. He's like, "My God!" The moment he let the snakes get thrown, like he genuinely sounded like, "Why would you do that?" That was a great spot. I was going to actually say the same thing. This match as a whole, I feel like it just felt like a squash match for Miro, and it really put him over as, a dominant champion, which is cool. But I guess, and maybe you guys have some ideas on this. Where does that leave Lance Archer? Because I feel like he's lost a lot of matches recently.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think the only idea I got on that is what we talked about before. Like, they've teased this like Sting, like talking him up. I think maybe he just goes in a different direction. Like he gets frustrated, and maybe because the other person that Sting kind of called out or they had a little moment with was Brian Cage. And I'm wondering if this is like maybe this is going to be a big faction, and that could work. And I think, or hell, imagine Brian Cage and Lance Archer going for the tag titles. That'd be fun.
Like the Legion of Doom. The new Legion of
Doom. Right. So I don't know. I think they're gonna have to do some sort of like reboot like that. And maybe that's what they're purposely doing. Because he is absorbing a lot of losses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be, because I mean the dude is mega talented. He's in his prime, and there's only so many titles that are in AEW, and there's so much talent there. They do need to do something fresh with them. And I do like that idea of maybe teaming up with Brian Cage. So we'll have to see. The next match was Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Hikaru Shida. And this was one of the best matches of the night, I thought, too. We all predicted that Britt Baker would become the new women's AEW champion, and she did. She beat Hikaru Shida in a submission. It was a great match. And boys, I don't think there's anything, or there hasn't been a gimmick how DMD is just so over right now than any other female in wrestling. I can't remember any other female having something like that that the crowd can respond to.
Yeah.
Oh, not like women. Yeah, like women. Yeah.
Right. I mean, RVD had his RVD.
Oh, you mean literally? Yeah, you're
Like
totally.
promo, yeah.
Right,
or just
right
like Steve Austin, like what? Just getting that crowd to be uniformed. I can't remember a female not having it. Adam Cole is her significant other. They're not married, right? They're just.
I think they're just dating.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Cole has his boom. She's got her DMD.
Oh yeah, that's a hot couple.
And that is hot right now. Very hot.
Yeah, the crowd loves doing that DMD thing.
Yeah, and she's like the heel, but she's super. She's
it's
arguably she's like top 3 popularity in all of AEW. I'd say.
I would say she's right now. She's probably number 1.
She could be,
because you think Kenny's hot, but he's not like over like her. The crowd loves her.
Yeah,
right.
The Bucks are up there, but I would say maybe Jungle Boy though. I don't know,
Orange Cassidy still.
Orange Cassidy, yeah. So yeah, she's top 3. It's like it's interchangeable in my opinion. Whatever crowds there for that night, digging her.
I agree. I'm going to save my thoughts on Kenny Omega for later because I have a couple thoughts when we get to the championship match. But as far as the women's match goes, Mike, I'm actually going to disagree a little bit. I didn't really think this match was all that fantastic. I knew where it was going after Britt Baker kicked out of like the 3rd kick to the face from Hikaru Shida. And I'm like, okay, if she's kicking out of this, she's definitely in it to win it. And just with how hot the crowd was, and just the way the stories have been built, the fact that she has been champion for over a year now, how could it not be Britt Baker, right? So I do think it was the right call putting the belt on her. The match itself, I thought there was a lot of, especially after seeing all the men's matches, you can really tell the women just kind of get sloppy with a lot of their moves. They'll over-exaggerate things. Some of the women, not so much. I've heard that the match, which we did not talk about, the pre-show match between Serena Deeb and Riho, I've heard was outstanding.
That was an outstanding match.
It was good.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was really good. I saw it. It was really good.
I still
was really good.
Watch it. But I feel like if it was snug, it had to have felt better than this match from a wrestling standpoint, right? Not so much as far as the story goes, but yeah.
It was the better of the 2 matches. I would agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. But I did love seeing Britt Baker win. Crowd's reaction. Can't wait to see where they go with this on Dynamite. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and Rebel in tow. You got the Good Doctor with the belt now. A lot of creativity. It's just perfect timing. Rio was a great champion when there was an empty arena. I think it was great. For her and non-English speaking champion for a little while, but now when you have a crowd there, you want to build a little more enthusiasm up and down the card. This just adds a lot more depth, putting the belt on her. Is this the time when they announced that Mark Henry would be joining AEW after this match?
Might have been.
I can't remember.
It was at that point in the match. Yeah, 3/4 of the way in or so. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's get into that. So I don't listen to a lot of Busted Open, and I know Steve, Charlie, Matt, I don't know if you listen to it as well, but you guys have some takes on this. Mark Henry comes out and says that he's joining the team. I mean, this was kind of out of nowhere. Did anybody see this coming?
No. He did a good job keeping it hidden because, I mean, I know all week he had talked about on different shows that him and his son, they were going to the show. But, I just assumed like he did last year, he's going to be in the back interviewing or just, chumming up with the boys. So he did a really good job hiding that he was there. I listened to, he called in the Busted Open today, after the holiday, and he had a pretty good interview, pretty honest. I think he's got from the way he made it sound, he's got a pretty high spot there. He's an executive. He's got that coaching title, but he's gonna have a pretty high spot there, and seems like a lot of influence when things go down, or how the tightness plays. They say tighten some of the screws up, get some of the shit in order, some of the little things that they're missing. He's going to be there to get a lot of it. From what he said too, is that his time had ended, his stuff was ending in WWE, and he talked to Vince about, hey, I want to be an executive, I want to be, a decision maker, not just a wrestler,
Nice.
coach, scout type of thing. I want to move into the board, to the move up the ladder there and be, executive. And Vince says, sure, write it up, what you're looking for, and we'll talk about it. And he kind of just blew it off and never got back with them. Then he did all the cuts and shit. So they kind of had the option with Tony, and he kind of took it, and I don't know why he was even trying to, in my opinion, it's my hot take, is I don't even know why he's trying to negotiate with Vince anyway. Vince is an old school guy. He's pretty Republican. I mean, I don't know the total history of the WWE, but I know enough to know that they've really never had a black person in a position of making any kind of decision, maybe in the ring and the background, but I don't know anybody who has been on the board of directors, a VP, any kind of that thing. And that's what he's looking to get into, to move his career to. And, Vince wasn't going to give him that. It's going to be,
Those seats at the table are full.
Yep, exactly. They're not going to let him in there, because they weren't going to let. He could have came up with anything. I don't think he was going to get that job, and I'm glad he finally left, even though he'd been kissing Vince's ass for years trying to get that job. Think he was going to get that job, and he should have known they weren't going to give it to him anyway. So I'm glad he moved on, and he finally learned his lesson that that those guys aren't going to take care of him. But it was a pretty good take. He moved on, and he from what it sounds like, he's going to have a lot of. He said he was sitting in gorilla position, just kind of watching how they do what they do. So I think he's going to have from what it sounds like, he's going to have an influence on the product going forward. So should be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, the crowd was really shocked when
I was shocked. Yeah, I was shocked too. I was shocked at the pop he got, because he's a WWE guy. Sometimes those guys don't take kindly. Look at Christian. What happened to Christian? It's like, oh, we like Christian. He's here, but our boy's Jungle Boy. We want Jungle Boy to go over. We don't want you going over, Christian. We're glad you're here. We popped for you coming here, but wait in the wings, brother. Don't go against one of our guys.
I think what shocked me is Charlie and I both have over the years listened to Busted Open, but yeah, that's been my biggest knock on Mark Henry is that he was
just a sycophant.
So pro WWE. And honestly, it's not like I faulted him. It's WWE was very good to him professionally, as a wrestler. So I get the loyalty, but it doesn't make for a very interesting pundit he was the last person I expected to go to AEW, because it's just for years it's just been like, oh God, he's gonna suck up to WWE.
Yeah, he would sit there and try to tell you those shows are good when the ratings are shitty and everybody's complaining. It's like, dude, you can't be fucking real about this, dude. You can't be you can't be real with this. And now it makes sense, because he was trying to work his way. He didn't want to talk bad about him, because he was trying to work his way into an executive position, which wasn't going to happen. I don't know why he didn't realize that. He could have took a landscape of who's there now. What's your chances of getting there?
Yeah, I think these positions are so valuable, like Big Show and him. Like there's the cynics that are like, oh, they're getting these WWE legends, but they're not putting them in the ring.
No.
And AEW needs like those kind of veterans that kind of know the big, they hit the top of the game in the WWE, and they know how to do television, and they know how to do all that, so I think if there's one knock on AEW, it's a little sloppy, a little amateurish at times. I think the Mark Henrys and the Big Shows will help, and the Christian Cages, all those guys are going to help with that over time, polish it up a little.
Most definitely. Yeah, the guy still has his finger on the pulse and has done and seen a lot.
Yep.
I mean, every time I've heard him speak, it's very, he's got a lot of good points and intellectual things to say. As Charlie said, yeah, he does come off as a yes man on that show, and which can be frustrating when, people like us just obviously know that the product is bad. So
yeah, it's shitty. It's like, come on, dude.
This is going to be a really good fresh start for him. And yeah, another great addition, another big move made by the AEW, who claim that we're not competition to the WWE, but they're slowly
they're making their move, dude. I think this year, 2022, will be an interesting year for them, because after this pay-per-view, even though I thought too, maybe I was marking out so much because we haven't seen live wrestling with the crowd, but I think this was one of their major moves to say, hey, we can do this. Let's start playing some stadiums and bigger arenas and see what can take. Because that show was off the chains hot, and like you said, was it predictable? We all kind of knew how it was going to play out.
Well, most of you did. I didn't.
Yeah. But it was still a great show, top to bottom.
Yes,
it was a great show. Even though you knew some of the how it was going to go, some of the matches, but it was just overall a great show, and it put them in the leagues with the big boys. They had a lot of surprises, and they're making moves behind the scene to pick things up. And Tony Khan wasn't lying, like he said after Double or Nothing, they're going to be making some big moves and changes, and picking up Mark Henry is a big one.
Most definitely. And let's go to another big move that the AEW made this past year by acquiring Sting and matching him up with Darby Allin. They went up against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. This was a match that I thought for sure that Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page were going to take. Charlie and Matt also agreed with me.
Yeah.
But the one loyal Sting guy on this program, Steve Grobschmidt.
Steve, come out of the box. Yeah.
And keeping it loyal to one of his all-time favorites.
Oh, great call, brother.
He was right. He said they didn't get Sting to lay down and take pins. They brought him in to take wins, and that's exactly what they did. Sting and Darby.
Promo of the year.
So
brother.
I watched this match briefly. I don't have a ton to recap on what happened. I was kind of working during it, but do you guys have anything on this match?
Yeah. I guess the two most memorable spots from this match to me were sort of in the early going of the match. We see Sting up on the ramp, and I forget who exactly he was fighting with, but he stands on top of the poker chips and then does a crossbody off the poker chips onto a couple guys.
The poker chips are like they have to do something big on those poker chips every Double or Nothing. They are kind of like the set piece. Yeah. I think that's where John Moxley did his finisher on Kenny Omega on those poker chips. I think we're going to see those be like the set piece where something memorable happens. I just love that about this show, Double or Nothing. It's a great pay-per-view.
Totally.
But sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, that's a great point. It's almost like Hell in a Cell for AEW, where someone's going off of them at some point on the show. Thankfully, in this case, it's not Shane McMahon. It's Sting. Yeah. So Sting does a crossbody. There was another spot later in the match where Ethan Page, I believe it was, picks up Darby Allin and hurls him out of the ring over
that was fucking crazy.
Yes.
That was Steven, holy shit, that dude's nuts.
That was an awesome spot. I still don't give a shit about Ethan Page. I don't think because his character is just so cartoonish, and
Yeah.
it's almost like he tries too hard with whatever it is he's trying to do. So I'm not into it at all. Even though he is supposed to be a heel, he just strikes me as a guy trying to pretend to be a heel. Kind of like you could see him doing that in Class and looking back like, was that good? Did that come off that way? So yeah, I'm not a big fan of his. I was a big fan to see Darby and Sting get the win, and I believe Sting actually got the pin in this match.
Yeah,
Is that
he
right?
did.
He put his move on.
Yep. Doesn't take pins, takes wins.
That was so. It was such. Yeah, I love the match. Obviously, we all know I'm a big Sting mark, but trust me, I'm a huge mark, but I also get nervous every time he wrestles because it's like I know he's in his 60s, and I'm like, at some point he's gonna look terrible. But he did not on this pay-per-view. Like he put in all his hits. He added a few moves we haven't seen him do. For a dude his age, he did not even remotely like. I mean, he looked really good, I thought, and yeah, and I just loved it. And I love that ending sequence where Scorpio went for that DDT thing, and Sting grabbed the rope and then gave him the death drop. It was really well done and like a nice way to end the match. Like, I think everybody, I tend to agree with you on Ethan Page. I think he's a little bland for me. He's kind of doing something we've seen many times before with smarmy heels. But that aside, I think everybody came out of this match looking good. I think Scorpio, even in Lost, looked good. And, he got his moment. He kept talking about where like Sting was like his like, he had a dream about being in the ring with him, and they got to shine it up there. It was that was a really crowd pleasing match. And hell, if they can get a 60-some-year-old dude in there that gets those kind of pops when he comes out, I mean, that talks about a legend right there.
Oh yeah, the crowd was going nuts for him too.
And
it was worth the money.
And I mean, everybody there was going nuts for Sting because they all know who Sting is. I didn't like how what's his face? The ring announcer was like, the legend, the icon, this is Sting, like just
it's like you just call him Sting.
You don't need to say that. Yeah, like don't do that. I kind of remember when the Undertaker used to come out and JR would be like, oh, it's getting kind of cold in here. And I wish JR would just do that when they got the snow machine going and be like, oh, it's getting kind of cold. Who's coming out? It'd be a lot better if you didn't ham it up and say like, this is Sting. I mean, obviously, you know who Sting is. You're not at Double or Nothing and not know who the fuck Sting is and what his reputation is. That was my only critique on that. But awesome match. Darby Allin, wow, it got launched. The dude literally puts his life on the line every insane match. I really hope he has a long career, but at this rate, the spots that he's doing, I don't know. It only takes one. So stay safe out there, Darby. All right, moving on. We're getting to Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy and Pac for the 3-way AEW World Championship. Don Callis was on the announce table with the boys. It couldn't have been any more sweet. I always love his commentary. He was sticking it to JR. He was sticking it to Shivani. He was sticking it to everybody. I love that guy. But seeing Kenny come out with all those belts, I mean, it is pretty cool. I mean, he had more metal on him than Brian Cage did in the beginning of the show. But this match, we said it was going to be a really great match just by the company that he shared this match with. Pac, Orange, they're awesome. Kenny's awesome. But everybody expects Kenny to be awesome. It's the little details in the match that make his matches great. And again, I think Callis being on the mic with this just makes these matches just a little bit more entertaining. But what are your guys' thoughts on this one? Matt, you said you had something.
Yeah, I think this match in general was good. It was a good world title match. We all kind of knew who the champion was going to be coming out of it, so I don't really think any of us were surprised by the outcome. I was a little surprised by how we got there, and honestly, I was a little disappointed because yet again, Don Callis steps in and makes the match even worse than it needs to be. Now, I'm going to agree with you guys. On commentary, cracks me up. I genuinely was like, okay, Don Callis is all right. I think him running
softening
down
up.
and dragging the referee out of the ring was the laziest booking decision that they've pulled in a long time. That was not needed. It took away from Kenny's essence. I mean, the thing is, the guy's got 4 belts on him coming out, right? If the way he's retaining these belts is by having his cheap ass manager like pull the ref's foot, like, come on. There's way more
he's a
creative
heel.
ways to do that than that. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can be a smart heel, right? Not just like I almost feel like he's following all these tropes. And like even the move sequences in this match that he did, it looked very familiar based if you've seen a lot of Kenny Omega's matches.
They're always,
didn't really do anything different, tended to follow kind of a same old recipe. Don Callis gets involved, pulls the ref's foot out. Didn't really like the match was great. I would say 3/4 of the way through, and then the last quarter of it really lost me. I was just kind of like glad it was over once it was over.
It was 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And
it felt like it.
I agree with you, Matt. I mean, that is one thing with Kenny. You kind of know his skill move, kind of similar to Bret the Hitman Hart. He has the Russian leg sweep, the backbreaker, then the elbow off the second turnbuckle. You know he's going to get all those moves in with the V trigger, that little flip move, the back foot. But like I said, it's the detail, the little details.
How he does it and when he does it,
that set his matches apart, and tries to make them
special.
I could authentic.
Yeah, I mean, I could watch Omega stuff over and over. Yeah, I mean, it's excellent in my opinion. But the guys on some guys were ripped. Guys on Brian Alvarez, those guys loved the match like most of us, but were ripped on the ending. They said it was class. It was like a TNA ending. Some guy goes first WWE, and they're like, no, that was like classic TNA where he hit the ref and just a shitty way to get out of it. But then it also said too, but what if it's a way to get one-on-one matches with Pac and one-on-one matches with Cassidy? So that could be down the road, because I mean, when you think about it, they don't have it's Hangman, but I think the Hangman build's going to be in 2022 for him to get the title, so they don't have a super face yet to really challenge Kenny, or like just an over face enough to challenge Kenny, because who's a face that could challenge Kenny?
Moxley. It was Moxley, but he lost. So it's
he's kind of moved on.
They have to take a break from that one.
Yeah, he's moved on from that. From that, he's not in the title picture. He'll be back, but he's not in the title picture right now. So
yes,
who else is there?
Yeah,
I could see Brian Cage maybe down the line, but
Cage
not anytime soon.
Yeah, Cage is a work in progress to get there to be a face, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to come back to Hangman Page at some point, but
I
think once that's going to be the match. I think
that's where we're going for sure.
Well, let's get to the main event of the evening.
The main event of the evening.
The Stadium Stampede.
I want to know first before we start, what were the picks for this?
Okay, so we all agreed that the Inner Circle would win.
Okay.
And Charlie put in a last-minute stipulation.
I called it. I told you.
Yes, and you have Sean Spears to thank for.
Oh, dude, I knew he was doing the job,
point.
Dude.
I know.
I texted Steve.
Shut up.
As soon as they made it to the ring, I go, Steve, there it is. My prediction's looking a whole lot better.
I don't want to talk about it.
I had Sean Spears on there, but we go back and listen to our last episode last week on our prediction show to give our takes and why we picked who we did. We inserted a special extra bonus point. Whoever would get pinned in the Pinnacle would get a bonus point. And yep, Sean Spears did the job. But let's talk about the match itself.
Yeah.
I said it last week. I'll say it a million times. I freaking love the Stadium Stampede. I love the creativity, and this was nothing short of that. We saw them in the coach's room. They saw them in a walk-in cooler with bloody pigs being hung up. I mean, they used icicles.
That was ridiculous.
they had Sean Sean Spears in a room with infinite chairs since he's the chairman. I mean, they just ham it up.
That part with the infinite chairs really threw me off for a second. Like I remember watching it going, wait a minute, how many drinks have I had right now? Like this is really tripping me out.
It was Jacksonville's graduation that week, and they held it at the stadium. They probably just had it there. They used it. You got to use what's around you. They had new Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer in it. That was really great, giving him the rub, getting people excited. My favorite spot was when Chris Jericho picked up the megaphone and just basically screamed in MJF's face to stun him.
That was funny.
It's just great. I just love it. I know, Charlie, you said this isn't your type of match, but
I like this one. This was pretty good. I like because the way I liked it. I mean, because it wasn't all hokey jokey, but I also liked the point of it was taped and then they went live with it. And that
was nice.
Right.
I'm like, you guys nailed it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Yep.
Yeah, they found the balance. Now that they had a crowd in the arena, they had the tape stuff, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna pick it up and give it to you. And then at the end, when the inner circle was in the ring, they took a bow like it was a show, because that's what it is. It's literally it's like an episode. It's like a chapter in AEW's history. Yep. Every Stadium Stampede is going to be outlandish, but how they do it is what you tune in for. And this was really, really fun. Matt, what'd you think of this one?
Yeah, I really like this. I honestly couldn't pick between this and the first Stadium Stampede. They were different in a lot of ways in terms of the tone, the spots, everything. So I don't really have a preference between the two. I think one of my favorite spots from this match was, I think you kind of alluded to it, Mike, where the two coaches are standing in the room and Jericho and MJF are going at it. And I think Jericho pushes MJF through a doorway and into a loading dock, and he flops into the loading dock, goes through a table, and Jericho walks out. The coaches look at each other. One just goes, "Holy shit!"
Urban
Meyer said it. Yeah.
That just
they're just going over. Yeah, they're just going over the X and O's, getting ready for the NFL season, and all of a sudden MJF and Jericho come in and they bust laptops over each other's heads. Awesome stuff. And Sammy Guevara is the one that put the pin on Sean Spears. So Charlie did earn that bonus point. Overall, this was an amazing pay-per-view, and it was very close. So let's find out who was King Bookah.
The ring kicking.
Steve and Matt remain the best friends at 5-4.
It's a winning record.
Mike was 6-3, and the King Bookah is Charlie Michael.
Oh shit!
Who will be
the bonus point
buying a Sean Spears T-shirt when we see him live at Milwaukee Panther Arena?
No one ever.
Oh, come on, dude! You guys know. You guys had to know he was doing the job, dude.
I didn't.
I was. I had it down, but I had it down and I crossed it out. If I would have stuck with Sean Spears, we would have tied.
I fooled myself into thinking they weren't gonna. They were gonna try to build him up.
I forgot I'm the oldest guy on the podcast, so I've watched a lot more wrestling than you guys over those years. So that's that knowledge coming in.
The learning tree.
That's that knowledge I have of you guys.
I don't think it's
in my 50 plus years of going to wrestling events and watching wrestling.
I don't think it necessarily takes that much time to build that up. I just like doing the pod. That's all. Like if I can pick an outcome that isn't likely and then it happens, I just want to be able to be like, yes, I picked it. I told you. But more often than not in pro wrestling, the obvious choice is usually the right one. And that's
totally. Yeah. Because he's the weakest. I just figured he's the weakest member. I mean, FTR, one of the guys at FTR probably could have done it, but according to how it goes, it was. Even though I look at it now, I just figured the weakest guy was going to do the job. It's how it always is. The weakest guy always does a job. But I figured, but after post matching it and listening to some stuff, that it had to be Sammy pinning him because of what he did to Sammy the night they got jumped. And it's time. It was Sammy's redemption for having Jericho for surrendering and having Jericho get thrown off the cage and all that. So it was all his redemption kind of thing. And Spears was the guy to do it.
The sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was good. I guess I mean it was a perfect show because too, as I said at the ending, the show ended with everybody happy, everybody singing and singing their song in the ring. I guess I haven't watched it yet, but there's the post-show stuff on YouTube and Jericho singing the song a cappella and the crowd's just singing along with them and just going home happy. You know, that's how I know WWE wants to end show with smiles on faces, but that's the way they did it. The way they did is the way you do it, you know, and it's like I was listening to Busted Open part of the day, and he said it's WWE has AEW has the cool factor. Mm-hmm. It's cool, it's hip, it's what even though I'm in the age range when it said go to WWE show it's kids and it's guys in their 50s. You know, you go to AEW show, you're getting a sweet spot, 18 to 35, but you're getting teenagers to the late 30-year-olds. You know, you're getting that hip, cool, know what's happening, on top of shit crowd, you know, and it's just an experience. And I mean, Matt, have you been to an AEW show yet?
Not yet, no.
It's like nothing it's great, dude. It's great. Matt, all of us has been there, and it's outstanding. It's outstanding. I just hope, like Mike said, that we can all get tickets to the pay-per-view as well. But it's just a rocking crowd, just a fun, great time, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have tickets to Dynamite.
August Dynamite's 26th. Gonna be rocking too.
Yeah, and that show for sure is happening now because they've launched their touring dates and everything. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward.
It's on.
To that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on. It's just a great experience. It's just like you said. It's just a hot, cool product. Even though WWE has all the guys that could make their product hot, it's just doesn't have the cool factor.
They got a bunch of old set in their ways dudes
running it. Yep, exactly. So they got to figure something out to
corporate yuppies
to get that. Yeah, to get that factor. I'm really interested. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm really interested to see what the ratings were tomorrow. For last night for Raw. I'm really interested to see what the ratings will be for NXT tonight. I think Raw is going to be pretty low. First of all, it's coming off a holiday weekend anyway, so those are always low numbers. And I think they were like a 1.6 last week, or was it 1.5?
Really?
Yeah, they were super low. Yeah, let me look it up real quick.
Well, while Charlie's doing that, let's get to promo of the week. This one is submitted to us from Eddie from Memphis. This one takes place in the WWF. It's the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart.
I love Honky.
With Jimmy Hart. Yeah, baby. And Mean Gene Okerlund. Let's take a listen.
Bobby Heenan family. After Saturday night.
Before you get started, I just want to say, my fans, my people in Boston, I don't appreciate you making fun of the way they talk. You said Baba.
Yeah, that's it.
You said Baba. We can't help it if they say park the car. But you don't have to say that. You don't have to say Baba. Let the Honky Tonk Man say what he wants to about his fans, but you don't do it. Don't insult my people.
I think you've got bigger problems than calling Brutus Beefcake the barber. You've got problems with Macho Man Randy Savage. You have really opened up a hornet's nest.
I don't have any
He is
problem.
a bitter and angry man. And how in the world can this man backhand a woman, Jimmy Hart?
Easy. If she gets in the ring, he don't have to this time. I'll send her to the hospital, and that's a promise, baby.
Big man, 142 pounds.
Big macho man with a taped up fist hitting Jimmy Hart. That's a big man.
Yeah, right.
You need it,
That's
Bret
like
Hart.
some of them people running around the streets of Boston. They think they're big people. I'm walking the streets looking for a fight in Boston. I couldn't find one when I had Bruno there. All his Italian friends were on ringside. None of them will fight either. Macho Man's not much of a fighter. He had to go get Hulk Hogan. He had to send his woman. His woman had to come there, stand in front of me and beg and plead for me not to play the song too loud. That's what it was all about.
She was just in there. You were going to hit the Macho Man with that guitar.
No, sir. I was going to play the hit for him.
What did Elizabeth do?
She got down on her knees, and she reached out, and tried to touch me. Because I told you before, and I'll say it again, she wanted me. She wanted to touch me. She wanted to touch the greatest intercontinental heavyweight champion of all time. I love tapped her right out of the way, and I stepped up, and I gave Macho Man what he needed. I gave him what my fans wanted me to give him. I gave him this right here, and I'm going to give it to him again. Saturday, the afternoon show, the first time ever in the Boston Garden. All of my fans will be there. They'll bring the car, and they're going to park it. And they're going to watch the honky-tonk man do his thing. Macho Man, it's over. He's finished. And don't make fun of my fans anymore the way they talk.
I don't particularly care to have you making fun of them either. Thank you. Forget that. I will not thank him. Boston Garden, Saturday, November the 7th, 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Boy, cool as a cucumber, the honky-tonk man.
He's cool, he's cocky, and he's bad.
Mm-hmm.
True. And he's got great hair.
Is that his real hair?
I think so. Yeah. He quit coloring. There's a really cool picture. He quit coloring it, and it's all white. He's got a beard now. It looks pretty cool, but he's got full head of hair, man. Wow. Here's a bonus question for everybody. Someone should get it. Who is the honky tonk man's cousin? Steve, you're out. You know it. Let these other guys try. Think of it. I'll give
Have
you
a hint.
It's not Elvis,
no.
Is it?
No, it's not Elvis.
It's not,
in the world of wrestling.
In the world of wrestling.
Is it Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
Give it to him. Give it to him, Steve.
It is Jerry the King Lawler.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah, from Memphis.
And they've had a very icy relationship over the years.
With their cousins. Yep.
Yeah.
That's great knowledge.
Yep.
Thanks for dropping that question in there. We got to have more of that. And thanks, Eddie from Memphis, for listening and submitting
I bet Eddie knew it.
of the week.
I bet Eddie knew.
Hey, you don't pick an awesome promo like that and not know.
With that kind of verbiage.
Right on.
If you know, you know.
With the things
if you know, you know.
With the things that he said in that promo.
Yeah.
You gotta be from Memphis and knowing stuff.
Yeah, and if you love the show and you want to hear your favorite promo, submit it to our inbox at Keep the Kayfabe on Facebook and Instagram. Remember to follow us on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Wherever great podcasts are, we're there. You're going to love it. Boys, I love these result shows. I love the prediction shows. This was a great show. I'm glad we got to break this one down together. But honestly, dudes, if you do 3 things this week, stay humble, stay hungry, and stay hard.
Triple H! And that's the 3 things I try to do every week. Triple H!
Woo!
Adios. Yeah, love that.
Peggy Sue beside me, the colonel's in the back, I'm coming to your town. In my pink Cadillac, I'm just a honky-tonk man. Just a honky-tonk man. I'm just a honky-tonk man.